Okay, here is the agenda for today's open webinar. First on the list is the opening remarks and introduction. And second on the list is about Sahel Consulting. We have next introducing the speaker. Fourth is keynote presentation. The fifth question and answer section. And the last but not the least, the wrap up and the closing. Next slide. Okay. To ensure that we have a well-coordinated session, here are the housekeeping rules. First on the list, we use the expression buttons such as raise hands, thumbs up, wave, etc. to contribute or call for attention. Second, all attendees will be able to participate in all relevant phases of the event. Kindly use the chat to contribute and send your questions. On the chat box, we have our team members who will be answering all questions you have with regards to the webinar. Third, kindly refrain from posting anything in the chat that is unrelated to the event. Fourth, allowed to speak during the question and answer session. We request that you kindly respect the group's time and keep your comments brief and to the point. Last, the Sahel Knowledge Series Organizing Committee are available to provide links and guidance in the chat box. Thank you. Next slide. Good afternoon once again. My name is Mark Waziri. I'm the Human Resource Analyst at Sahel Consulting. I would like to use this medium to welcome you to the second edition of the Sahel Knowledge Series, which is hosted by the Advancing Locality Development in Nigeria program, ALDIN, with the topic, Commercializing Pasture Production for Sustainable Development of the Livestock Sector. We hope you'll sit back and enjoy this webinar just as much as we enjoy putting this edition together. Welcome. Next slide. Okay, we have Fisayo Mikayode, who would be talking about Sahel Consulting. Fisayo, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Next slide, please. Next slide. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Sahel Knowledge Shares. We are so glad to have you here today. I'm going to walk us through what we do at Sahel and a bit about our current program called the Advancing Locality Development in Nigeria. Sahel is a management consulting firm that focuses on transforming Africa's agriculture and nutrition landscape. And we have a vision to be recognized as the most trusted consulting partner and point of reference in African agriculture landscape. And we have various services that we deliver, including market-based research, strategy advisory services, training and innovation, business and ecosystem solutions. And all this we do to impact the communities and achieve sustainable growth. Sahel has 3 key pillars. We have agriculture, nutrition, and agribusiness. And all of our work is closely related or aligned to these 7 sustainable development goals that you can see on the screen. We partner with government agencies, private sector companies, international organizations to deliver our various work at Sahel. Next slide. ALDIN, Advanced Local Development in Nigeria, I'll be using ALDIN moving forward, is a 5-year program implemented by Sahel Consulting and currently being funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The program aims to catalyze a vibrant local dairy sector in a way that we work with smallholder dairy farmers to improve their livelihoods, the productivity of their cattle, their nutrition, as well as empowering smallholder dairy women farmers. ALDIN has 5 key objectives. The first one is to advocate for an enabling environment for local sourcing through engagement with various stakeholders. Secondly, we are working on increasing the demand for locally sourced milk from the smallholder dairy farmers through strategic partnerships. Thirdly, we are helping the farmers to improve their productivity by increasing their access to technical inputs and services. The fourth objective is to empower women dairy farmers. And finally, we are working towards improving the nutrition outcomes of the target beneficiaries and the communities where they live. Aldin has 6 key components. We have farmers organization, infrastructure development, productivity improvement, financial inclusion and income support, diversification, training and extension, and policy advocacy. Today, we are going to be zooming into one of these components, which is the feed and fodder commercial production under productivity improvement. Next slide. Sahel currently works with 2 implementing partners on the Aldin program. The first one is TechnoServe, and including farmers organization and financial inclusion and income diversification support. We also have Livestock 247 that has a network of veterinary doctors that delivers animal health services to the project beneficiaries. Next slide. Today, representing Dr. Amole is Dr. Adetayo Adekeye, and he would be sharing with us from his wealth of experience on the topic around commercializing fodder production in Nigeria. Dr. Adekeye is a skilled researcher, strategic partner, and farms manager with dynamic leadership traits, technical feed innovator, and upscaling professional. He is a strong research professional with a doctorate of philosophy focused on crop and pasture production and sustainable environment from World Bank Africa Center of Excellence in Agricultural Development and Sustainable Environment, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. He is also an NIRS operator, sample and data analyst in an international research center. Join me as we welcome Dr. Adekeye. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm glad being here today, standing in for Dr. Amale, who is currently on another engagement. As the topic implies, I will be going straight to the topic of the day, which is the commercializing pasture production for sustainable development of the livestock sector. I don't know if you can view my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you.
But you may please put it on presentation mode so it's clear.
Okay. I don't know if I'll be guided in that. So, commercializing pasture production for sustainable development of the livestock sector. By the way of introduction, pastures are an area of land either cultivated or naturally occurring, upon which grasses such as legume and forages grow for animal to feed on. I know when we talk about animal in this context, we are talking about the ruminant animal. And in this context, I will say that we are talking about cattle, because the need for cattle cannot be compared to small ruminants like sheep and goat. And pasture definitely provide the bedrock for sustainable livestock agriculture. In fact, I will say that if there's no pasture, there's no livestock agriculture, because livestock, ruminant farming cannot sustainably practice, either for beef or for dairy, cannot be sustainably practiced without sustainable pasture development. And why there's a need for sustainable pasture production? Well, in Nigeria and even in the sub-Saharan sector, countries in the tropics, there's an ever increasing human population. And this also coupled with increase in the prospect for livestock in Nigeria, because I discovered recently that in the southwest western Nigeria, there's this influx and increment in the livestock farming. In this year alone, I've been to several farms, coming up with cattle production. Some having prospect for dairy, while some are starting with beef. I was somewhere last week where they were planning to be fattening 500 cattle every 3 months. All this is as an increase in the knowledge gap. Maybe also want to break the dominance from a particular region of the country. And with this is leading to a continuous increment, in the livestock population. Every year there's influx of cattle, people buying more to stock, and people that is a way of increasing it. And this also with the need for land for cropping and non-farming activities, it has been leading to a reduction in the natural grazing land. Yes, the natural grazing land is highly depleted on a daily basis, thereby causing feeding balance in livestock sector, especially when we are moving towards the end of the year. This time around is fantastic, and even in some area. But as we are moving to the end of, towards the end of the year, so early rainfall, maybe around May, April, May, there's always been this problem. And the resultant effect of this is, part of it is the farmer header crisis. So to mitigate these emerging effects, there's a need to see a way of addressing the feed and feeding gap in livestock sector. And to achieve sustainable production, there's a need for commercializing pasture production. Livestock sector has been playing a very vital role in the food security and livelihood of the country as a major source of protein, either beef, even, and the dairy. If you look at the dairy, there's no an African family one way or the other that they will not consume milk. Maybe in terms of either liquid milk or powdered milk. No matter how it is, one way or the other, we consume it, even though it may not be to the level we want, maybe as a result of cost or the economy. But if this can be addressed, which Sahel is doing in the long run, I know Nigeria will come to a level where milk will be available like every other country. And also in terms of the beef, we don't even need to talk about that. They also contribute to the livelihood of the small resource farmers. Some having cattle having ruminants, either large or small ruminants in some number, is reducing, is improving the livelihood. I used to say that, like small ruminants, when we're talking about good, they are like farmers' bank at times when even in the local setting, when they keep goats, at times when there's a finances or there's a need for money, one can be taken and be sold. It also creates business opportunities for small-scale farmers, private firms and investors, like I first said at the introduction part. So the place at which livestock is playing in the country and the economy cannot be underestimated. It can't be. And as good as these rules are, the formation by default of the ruminant, the GIT, the system, it cannot survive without forages. It can't survive without grasses. I used to tell people that even if we have money to provide constantly, even if at all there's money, even though it's expensive to even practice, but the way the rumen is designed, the rumen microbes definitely need forages. They definitely need forages. Apart from the fact that there's no sustainable livestock production without forages. Sometimes this year, I was in the flag of pasture establishment organized somewhere in Baccarat by the federal government in Abuja. The emir that came from, I've forgotten this town, he was saying that if there's no pasture, there's no there's no cattle. That there's no way the livestock industry can survive without forages. So part of the role in addition to the fact that it contributes to the digestive system of either dairy or beef cattle. No, their digestive system is well adapted to forages. It provides nutritional requirements for ruminants. If a pasture is well managed, the need for concentrate might be a little bit be reduced. It's well managed, it's well conserved during floods, during high production, period like this period. It contributes greatly to the nutritional requirements. I'll be talking more about this at the establishment. It's for an opportunity for wet curation. And it's an alternative for high cost of compounded feed, for compounding concentrate feed. Let me emphasize a little bit on point number 3 about wet curation. Recently, we are taking a survey at a location in southwestern Nigeria, and we discovered that there's some of them have been in this business of harvesting fodder from the wild for more than 16 years. For more than 16 years, they have been involved in fodder production. So to them, somebody told me that this only work he know how to do, that he has been here and is meeting his economic need. So pasture and forages, they are playing a vital role in the livestock production. You know, when I was introducing, we talk about pasture that can be cultivated or can be naturally existing. Well, the natural pasture, we all know, these are naturally occurring pasture that nobody plants them. They are abundant and dominated feed resources in Nigeria. It supports more than 60% of total ruminant production. If you walk from north to south of the country, you will see grasses here and there. They consist of several species, both that are edible and that are not edible by the livestock. And they differ along the agroecological gradient. Yes, if you move from the derived to the south part of the humid of the country, you discover that you can have different species. The quality, the availability, and biomass production vary by geography. It also varies by topography, as well as season and climate. Now, many of these species on the natural pasture, they are at the peak of their biomass production. Anytime from September now, the production will begin to decline, even to some area to be like zero until the first onset of rain by at next year. They are limited and is unsustainable. It's very, very limited and not sustainable because the availability is seasonal. And if the availability is seasonal, that does not mean that livestock production is going to be seasonal. And the decreasing as human population, yes, human population is increasing for the demand of food and other also increases. When there's a need for land for non-farming business like building of houses and houses and estates, naturally occurring pasture they are decreasing in terms of the area of land size. Even they are exposed to overgrazing, which is causing depletion and some climate related problems. Why now for commercial farming, for commercial pasture production, we're looking at the cultivated pasture. Of course, they are high in their quality and the productive forage species with higher carrying capacity. Some of these species on the naturally occurring pasture, they have low forage, they have low yield in terms of the biomass, and the carrying capacity as in the area of land that can be supported by a known number of livestock is very, very low compared to some high yielding forage species we'll be discussing later on. Adoption is limited based on the dominated livestock production, yes. Until recently, the adoption is very, very limited because many people until now feel that there's no need to establish pasture that why must you cultivate a pasture that animal can graze on naturally occurring pasture until recently. And same cropping season with arable crops. So problem of investment allocation is setting. And definitely there's poor seed system. There's poor seed system because of poor management. Let's move to major challenges that are related to livestock, as well as the ruminants. There are a lot of challenges related to livestock, among which the demand for animal products is expected to increase. So there's a need to see how this will be sustained, because even presently it's not up to what it should be, let alone talking by year, 2050, when a survey average that is increased by 70%. Additional pressure on existing natural resources, that is the natural pasture, is a challenge. The same land farmer want to plant maize, want to plant arable and all these food crop. Yet the same land a cattle farmer want to graze or want to get their forage material is creating a challenge. There's high cost of compounded, concentrate feed for ruminants, even though many even don't know it exists. Very few female are into concentrate production. So all these, they are challenged. Then feed and food competition. Yes, feed and food competition. I was discussing with somebody yesterday in the training we just concluded that when we are looking, we're discussing something about maize. I said, the need for maize is very high. There's several byproduct or utilization of maize. The poultry industry alone, what they are consuming in maize is high. Now, introducing this into livestock sector, it will cause problem in the economy. And there's a low investment in the pasture production in Nigeria. They're very low investment, even though very few are even having the knowledge of even establishing pasture in the country. So some and many others are a lot of problems. Do we talk about lack of technicality, lack of infrastructure, lack of many of resources that is needed? Do we talk about disease? Do we talk about? But let's just discuss what is related into feed. Now let's move into further production, because the contents of today's discussion is on further production and how it can be sustainably practiced for a sustainable livestock sector in the country. Where I'll be discussing under these headings: look at the probability, look at the recommended species, look at the requirement needed, the land input, the seed, the labor, and the management. Now, further marketing. On this slide, I have a picture of some of the inputs from the survey we have been taking for almost 2 years now at a location, at a town in the southwest Nigeria. Here, grasses are being harvested from the wild, from the natural pasture, and it's being transported to this market where buyers come, both those that have cattle. There's another cattle market located close by, and people also come from outside this market area. We call those one SC2 buyer. They came there to buy grasses, and they've been transported. Grasses are being caught from several locations, which we have been referencing to know where they are cutting all this. But further marketing is for growing market, especially in urban and the peri-urban area. Because in some urban area where people are having livestock, especially cattle farms, where land is limited, there's a need to source for grasses. And many of these people used to source it from the naturally occurring pasture. They pay them based on the agreement in terms of the bundle, or they contracted it out for people to cut. Sometimes, maybe about 2 months ago, I usually see a castor at opposite Uri farm here in Ibadan. Used to, the castor used to come, and I now approached the driver one day that, where are you cutting this, and who is contracting you for this? He told me that he was giving me the profile about a farm where the grasses are being cut to, and they harvest it during this period. taking it to that place. Because Ben was telling me where the farm is located is an outskirts of an urban settlement. Which I was now telling somebody, I said, this place, they will need a land to cultivate pasture for the animal. So there's a fast growing market, especially in these areas. And cutting from the wild, I think from the natural pasture and selling to livestock is now increasing. Is now increasing. When we started the survey, we started by a location in the south part of Nigeria, in the south part of Nigeria, but later we need to extend to some other locations, even in the state. And why this? Sometimes last year we were able to have we're not a form of non-structural survey that over 10,000 cattle are moved daily from the northern part to southwest Nigeria on daily basis. In fact, I was in one abattoir sometimes early this year, and I met one guy. I said, "How many cattle do you slaughter?" He said, "We slaughter cattle." I said, "Like how much? Like how many?" He said, "We slaughter up to 1,005. I said, "On daily basis," he said, "at least 4 times." So this that are still kept transported about. It cannot be transported about. When you went for the survey from this picture that are displayed on the screen, is the interaction with those people make us to know that a cattle will take about nothing less than 2 bundles of this on daily basis. And but that does not even meet up, but because we need to rationalize the feed. Okay. And this is pointing to it that there is a market potential. There's a market potential. Now, permit me to have this expression. Now, we discovered from that survey that a bundle of forage, of harvested forage at that market is about 40 kg of fresh matter, fresh biomass, which when we collected was about 8 kg diameter. And currently a bundle of that is being sold for 700 naira. Sometimes it moves up to 800 now and then, but let me pick 700 naira. Now, a 25 kg, a 250 kg live weight of a cow, we definitely require 7.5 kg on dry matter of fresh fodder if it will be fed at 3% body weight on daily basis. Now, calculating this on daily basis is telling us that a cattle of about 250 kg of live body weight, we require nothing less than between 1 and 2 to be well fed, 1 or 2 bodies to be well fed on daily basis. Now, as I said before, that about 10,000 are moved to the southwestern Nigeria. Out of that, 6,000 of it is moved to Lagos, where as of when this data was collected. Now, if we now look at that okay, if 6,000 is taken to Lagos alone, and a cattle even be given 1 bundle on daily basis, meaning that at 700 naira per bundle, that those inflows of cattle, if they are not slaughtered that day and they be kept in the market for like 2-3 days, it will be about 4.2 million worth of grasses on daily basis to sustain those cattle alone. Those are the ones in the market, not even estimating for those outside the market, those that have 1 or 2 in their respective maybe farm or as a backyard cattle farm. Now, the opportunities here is that even in the natural from the naturally occurring pasture, people have been making business from the naturally occurring grasses, cutting it and bringing it down to the market on daily basis. I told us that an interaction with one of those harvesters said that for the past for the past 16 years, he has not been doing another thing than cultivating, than harvesting pasture from the wild and taking it to the market for sales. So he's telling us that there's an opportunity in this, in further harvesting, in further cultivation in the country. Now, if this is happening from the naturally occurring pasture, how much more with now occurring pasture with low biomass, with low potential, with poor management or even lack of management? How much more when this is being cultivated and well managed? Now, at the Akinyele fodder market, that was the place where we are taking this survey. Approximately about 1,500 bundles have been taken to the market on daily basis. Between the hour of 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., nothing less than 377, at times up to 500 bundles must have been brought to the market. What the people what they are doing is that by the close of today, like in the evening of today, they must have gone to harvest. Early in the morning, it will be brought to the market. Cattle farmers will come, buy it. And if a bundle is at 700 naira, the implication is that within this period, the worth of the market is about 263,000 naira on daily basis. That is between this hour. Now, if you look at a day when there's a full supply to the market, when there's a full supply to the market, when they are having about 1,500 bundles, and at this price, it's very, very, an huge market driven opportunities in this area. Now, when we're talking about the naturally occurring pasture, I made mention of it that some of the specific there, they are poor, the yield is low, and for a commercial pasture production, especially in the dairy industry, one of the promising fodder species is the Napier grass. And because of the rich content soluble carbohydrates, which quickly produce energy that cattle require in milk production, and even for the increased milk production, the propagated through stem and at times through seed make it to be very, very fantastic, and it goes faster. The yield can be as high as 150 tons, as in 30 metric tons per hectare per me, and it grows faster, especially the improved variety. It's drought tolerant because of this nature and because of the rhizome system of the grass. It's very tolerant to drought, and is mostly perennial and the best cause and carry where we can have all this. But Napier grass is a promising forest species, especially for the dairy industry. Another one here is the Baccarat. Yes, there has been a lot of campaign or a lot of demand for Baccarat. I think people are getting to be aware of it these days. It is a very high yielding one, as we can see here. The regenerative capacity is 2 to 3 regrowth within similar yield of at 4 weeks interval, depending on the soil moisture, on the management. It can be propagated through seed. It's also drought tolerant. And in fact, I discovered recently, where in addition to my long-time discovery, is nature for high grazing tolerant. It can withstand heavy grazing, and if we manage, it can persist over several years and it's still existing. Once you harvest, once you establish that the crude protein of 7. In fact, at fresh it has up to 11, and even at the A one I did recently during our last A production in February, I discovered that it has up to 6 to 7% crude protein. It's very is a perennial, of course, if we manage. Now, what are the requirements for commercializing fodder. I'm coming from general to specific. The first requirement that I will mention is to first identify your market. If I want to go into fodder production, I want to go to commercial fodder production, who is my targeted customer? Which market am I targeting? That should be the first thing. Those people that have been cutting at Akeyele, this market, the first thing they know here is that there's a potential cattle market located. So they have a potential market in that place. So in anyone that's going to commercial cattle production, the first thing to first identify is to first identify your market. Where am I selling to? First identify your market. Recently, one dairy firm approached us and said, okay, they want, no. Somebody came, he said they have an agreement with somewhere that they will supply the fodder. And the land needs to be well protected. If possible, fence it. If possible, fence it. Because so that somewhere, sometime we not just take their cattle and just waste what somebody have been laboring or investing upon. Yes, to ensure all season fodder supply, there's a need for a perennial water source for irrigation, especially during the during the dry season, as we move from early November to late April, or depending on your locality, especially from the Savannah to the middle belt and the southern part of the Guinea Savannah, there's a need for a perennial water source for irrigation. There'll be a need for foliage harvester and foliage cover for value addition. Yes, because if a soft foliage is given to a livestock, it's better utilized than when it's given to them as a whole. Even the wastage also increase because at the time the animal need to struggle in cutting, in biting it, and even study has shown that a soft forage will be utilized in terms of the digestion and the absorption better than a non-soft one. So there's a need for forage harvester and even for forage chopper. And if we are going into conservation, like here and Sally, we will still discuss later on, there'll be a need for a baler, silage making machine. All these are needed for a commercial pasture production. Also, there's a name for quality seed. There's a name for quality forage seed. There's a name for quality forage seed. There's a name for fertilizer or manuring, because as fodder is being harvested, depending on your program of harvesting, the land will be depleted. And cutting it, taking it to the animal, there's a name to find the means of replenishing the land. Otherwise, the productivity of that pasture will be reducing. And if care is not taken, it can affect the sustainability of that pasture. And there's a need for good pasture management skill in terms of land preparation, in terms of site selection, land preparation, in terms of when to plant, that is the time to plant, in terms of the plant rate, plant techniques, in terms of the management as in post-establishment management, in terms of the dry management, in terms of the grazing management. There's a need for this. Otherwise, the productivity of the pasture will be greatly affected. In fodder production, Well, these are just showing some steps. The land is prepared. You prepare the land. Having gotten your seed, secure the seed, plant the seed. Weeding is done when it's needed, depending on the method and the area where one is located. If need be, there's a need for fertilizer application, like what this lady is doing here. She's applying fertilizer to the established pasture, and after a period of 10 to about 8 to 10 weeks after harvesting, depending on the season, on the species and the time of planting, their harvesting will be done either manually or mechanically. And if there's a need for conservation, it will be conserved either into hay or into solid, depending on your production target or available infrastructure or facilities on your farm. Now, sometimes a goal is survey. A field trial was done in the northern region, upper region of Ghana, with an irrigated fodder, and it was a trial that was done to build upon the existing knowledge of dry season farmer in those areas. And well, the results showed that after costing all the variable costs like land preparation, the cost for seed, the fuel or irrigation pump, and even process of the irrigation, pumping machine, utilization of fertilizer, transportation, all these variable, it shows some profit margin. Because it was done in Ghana, it was the result was presented in Ghana cities. But it can be seen that from the region, in this region, both were, there's a break even in this. Last year, we cultivated some pasture and we harvested the hay. Though the result is not here because it's still under editing, and it was shown that these are profit. There's a prospect in the pasture cultivation. Now, further seed and seedling production. A pasture can be established both from seed and from seedling. Even some establish bacteria from seedling, first nose it and transport the seedling. Like the one we see here, there are cuttings of napier that is being put into the nursery bags. So the estimated cost for seed for bacteria, well, it depends on your locality. It depends on your locality, where you are located. This Mombasa, this bacteria, this stylo, this, if you are doing effective cutting, it depends on the negotiation on whom you contact. But definitely the price will vary from location to location, and it will vary from individual to individual. But what is important is to get from a reputable source, where one will get a viable seed, not a mix-up or a seed that cannot be depended upon. Well, in commercializing pasture for a sustainable livestock, there will be a need for conservation, because it totally follows the cycle of high flows to low biomass production, if on the natural pasture. With good irrigation system, even during dry season, productivity can still be sustained. Yeah, it can be conserved both into hay and into silage, depending on your target. Though mostly in dairy industry, silage is very, very promising. Silage is very, very promising. Then, but still, as I said here about the good pasture management, even the hay production and even the silage production, there's a need for good management skill. When do you need to cut your grass for either hay or for silage production? How should they be paid? All these are very, very important. All these are very, very important. There's a need to develop this skill A is always harvested before flowering to capture the nutrients, because once the flowering commences, there will be a mobilization of nutrients from the biomass, from leaf or the stem to seed production, which is reducing the nutrient available in the leaf and the stem. So there's a need to understand this very, very well. And apart from that, there's a need for proper storage to prevent losses. Many people don't know that even when A is too compacted and jam-packed in the store, I've seen a store where as a result of high temperature, fire just came up, and destroyed the whole store. So there's a need to have all this key when going into commercializing the pasture production for in livestock industry, where silage they are harvested for fodder that is being conserved in anaerobic condition, either in a silo, which are made by different sizes. Some make this bucket, some use nylon, some use a commercial bunker silo, and well compressed. So silo can be pit, can be bunker, it can be sack, it can be, some use drum. It depends on your knowledge and the available. So, and even the size of the farm, the flock size, all these we are a factor. And there's a need for good technical know-how, because it may be capital intensive at times, and unlike a silage, unlike the marketing will be a little bit challenging in movement, in moving them from the production maybe to where it's needed. When they are not provided, produced on the farm. But by and large, we can say that having produced, the format which can be marketed, we have seen that fodder can be marketed either as a fresh fodder, it can be marketed in form of A, it can be marketed in form of silage, depends on your customer. But don't forget that there's need to first identify your market. Who is my customer? Who will take up what I want to produce? So, in conclusion, before we attend to questions and responses, we can see that adequate supply of feed, both in quality and quantity all year round, is a key to improve livestock production. And this feed we are talking about, forage and the fodder constitute the larger percentage. So permit me to say that adequate supply of pasture, both in quality and quantity, they are very, very important to improve the livestock production. And livestock feed value chain, which is growing gradually and becoming more organized. Now we're having cattle farmer organization, association, people are coming together, good seller, the cattle, the sheep, they are being organized. Consequently, there is more opportunity. In fact, those that are cutting for fodders at that market that I made mention to that time, they also have they have association, have leaders, have presidents that are coordinating their affairs. We can see that there's a market around it, even though to some they don't know, but there's a market around it. So understanding of the market need and available food resources is critical to building business around the fodder production and the supply. Yeah, thank you everyone for the listening to the presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adike, for that wonderful presentation. Time for questions.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, good afternoon. My question is, sorry I'm joining late. I just got the link to the presentation. How can we get a recording of this presentation? Is it possible?
I think Sahel consultant should answer this.
So I'm not sure what exactly you want. Is it the audio recording or the presentation slides?
Well, the audio recording and if you have any kind of PowerPoint that was presented, because the link was actually just shared to a group that I belong to like about 2 minutes ago. So I would like to, as well share the presentation with other group members that are also into livestock breeding in Nigeria as well. So I think that would be beneficial to them. I just logged in like 2 minutes ago because the link was just shared to me. So I believe that whatever knowledge was passed on here, we can also share that a larger platform, which is something we currently have right now in the group that I belong to.
Okay, kindly drop your email address in the chat box. We will be in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have further questions for Dr. Adeke?
Thank you. Please, I have a question to the presenter. Thank you very much for presentation. My question is that you made mention of some, the price of some of these forages. I want to ask if the price per kg, I want to ask if it is on dry. I don't know. That's what I want to ask. The price is it on dry matter basis? Because it was your price in kg. I don't know if you understand. Oh,
to answer your question a little bit further, even those that are selling A, I was opportune to involve in some A production late last year to early this year. I know a bundle of A of between 10 to 15 kg is being sold between 800 to 1,000 naira. It's being sold between 800 to 1,000 naira. And even when there's not enough at a particular location, we have to make contact to another farmer somewhere in the Middle West that just have small quantity. The price was also similar in that area. So like to answer our question to be more specific, even AE being sold between 800 to 1,000 naira with a bundle weight of about 10 to 15 kg per bundle. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I've gotten.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Adeke, we have another question in the chat box. The question is, when is the best time to harvest hay? Is it when it's dry and brown? Or
is still having a little of green. It's not yet brown. Now, let me approach the question like this. It depends on your locality. Like for instance, in this part of the country, in the southern part of the country, we do harvest it around early December when there's no rain again. By that time, it's still green. It is still green, but it is matured. It is still green. You harvest it when it is green. Leave it on the field, depending on the weather. Leave it on the field for like 1 or 2 days to wheat. At least by that time, the moisture content must have reduced to about 30–35%. So you leave it on the field. If possible, you can turn it. Then maybe the moisture content reach to about 25–20%. Then you can bale. So you harvest when it is, the fodder is still green. Don't wait until when it is brown, because by the time you wait until when it is brown, don't forget, you will still leave it to dry. And by that time, it will be getting bleached and the nutritional quality will be reducing. So you harvest when it is green, they are still green, but there's no rain again, they are still green, then that's the best time to harvest. Hello? Hello.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Adeke. The question was dropped in the chat box, so I believe the
Okay.
person who asked the question is on mute. Do we have further questions?
Yes, I have a question, sir.
Okay.
When it comes to planting hay in Nigeria, especially in the southwest side, predominantly
Yes,
Ogbomoso area,
please.
Would you recommend planting Bermuda grass instead of Baccarat, since Bermuda grass is native to that region as well?
Yes, okay. Are you through with your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm not. If you look at my last slide, not only where I was talking about a production, I not only mentioned Baccarat. Bermuda grass is also fantastic, but we are looking at the yield, and so because of the high need for fodder in livestock. Why the need for Baccarat these days? Because of it high yielding, and it can survive in those areas well. So planting Bermuda, there's no problem with it. It depends on an individual, on your production need, on your production target and potential. So if you plant Bermuda in Ogbomoso, to Ilorin, even to Minna, to Kaduna, up to the middle belt of Kaduna, Nasarawa, come down to Oyo State and some part of Ekiti, all these agrological zones, they can any grass species that survive if Bermuda can survive. So far the land is okay. It has been maybe an expertise has been taken to the place and satisfied that the land is okay. This grass will as well as survive in that area. But if it's Bermuda that want to plant, there's no problem with it. There's no problem with it. But all the way, every other management skill that is needed by the pasture to be well sustainable will also be required in that place. For Bermuda as well. So either Bermuda, either Baccarat, there's no problem with it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we have two more questions in the chat box. First is, can you share with us the identified markets for livestock feeds, especially silage in Nigeria?
Okay. Presently, silage will be well appreciated by a dairy firm. Like, well, I don't want to be mentioning name because I am not marketing for them. I'm not marketing for any dairy firm. But anybody that is going to dairy industry, the market will be a dairy firm. One was just established in Ogun State, Nigeria. Not quite long. Somewhere in Ogun State, and I know some also in Oyo State are here. And I think recently I was opportune to involve in one consultancy for one in Nasarawa. So the potential market will be a dairy cattle farm. And this other one that said that, do you know where to buy a cost-effective machine and what is the cost in Nigeria? Well, the cost of baler, the hay baler depends on the efficiency. There are some that you need to pack the grass inside into the A machine manually. There are some that are attached to a tractor and being powered by PTO that it harvests and it bale on the go. So it depends on the efficiency. But sometimes ago that I was discussing with somebody to import one from from, is it for one Asia country? That one is even a small scale, not a large scale. It's then, well, dollar was not as this day, was about 4.5 million naira. 4.5 million naira. But last year, we tried to develop one local e-bailer, which will be operated manually. And that one, we use it, and I think to a small scale fodder farmer, it is efficient, and we discovered that it can be used for e-billing. And I think within it takes about, it will be operated by three people, and within a space of 7 to 9 minutes, less than 10 minutes, they will bail, they make a bail of A. And that time we discovered that a bailer machine bail as high up to, as much as between 100 and 120 per day. Though is manual, because where we're discussing sometimes like this last year, and so somebody want to import, and the cost maybe about 4 million that I mentioned in that deal. Okay, why can't we look into the manual one? We put it together, call the local carpenter, and he guided, correct some mistake, and I think we have a local sources in, a sources in that which you can be introduced a local farmer in the country. But to import, it can be as high as 10 million, 5 million, even 20 million. It depends on the size. And even when you need to buy tractor with it, that will be money. But if it's just ordinary e-billing, it depends on where you are bringing into the country. So, but it cannot be less than 4.5 million naira. Okay, this one said that please share with us your experience in marketing A and silage to small other dairy farmer. Well, I'll share with you how the silage, the A was sold recently. I was involved in one at early part of this year, and I know that it was sold to a cattle farm. If I get it fair rightly, that farm sold about 4,000 tons. It's about 4,000 tons of A. It's about 4,000 tons of A, worth about 1.3 to 1.4 million naira. And when they sat down to calculate their economy of production and the like, it was to the farm, they break even on the production. They break even on the production. So is that what is the right time to establish pasture in the arid and semi-arid zone of Nigeria? Well, the best time to establish is when at the early part of rainfall, especially when rainfall is stable. Usually in the arid zone, it might be up to like June, July. Can be like June, July. In the derived savanna area, or in the southern part of the Guinea savanna, it can be established as early as May. It can be established as early as May in the southern Guinea savanna. In the arid and semi-arid, it can be between June and July. I don't know if you have attended to the questions. Hello.
Hi, yes, you have.
Okay, thank you, ma.
So I believe we have been able to attempt all the questions we have, and time is already against us, so we might not be able to take more questions.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Adeke, for taking the time to deliver this wonderful presentation. We really do appreciate your time and effort. Despite the short notice, you are still able to come through for us. We really do appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes. All right.
I want to appreciate everyone for attending and listening to my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
before
very much.
I would like to use this medium to invite you all to our upcoming flagship event, which is tagged the Sahel Changemakers Conference. You can register by logging on to sahelconsult.com//SCC to register. The details of the event will be there on the website. You can also check the chat box. Our team will also be dropping the link to register for the conference in the chat box. Thank you so much, everyone, for the time. Chad, over to you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, everyone, for participating in today's webinar. I believe it's been informative and educative. We've learned a lot of things that we can take away and use personally and also in our different organizations. We look forward to hosting you at our next webinar. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye for now.